Alright guys, it looks like Dokkan has dropped a teaser for the upcoming Dokkanfest in October. Here is the hint that they have dropped. We have multiple looking ghoulish silhouettes with glowing red eyes, all looking the same, looking all menacing. I mean, it is Halloween next month, so it's only fitting, and this is the hint we're getting. Now, I think a lot of us, including myself, are going to be coming to the same consensus, especially from the things I've seen in the comments briefly, and immediately what my mind meant to. So you can let me know down in the comments what you think the Dokkanfest is going to be. Let me know what your theories are down below. The first thought my mind went to with this silhouette, even the pose and everyone looking the same, looking all menacing, is the Metal Cooler Army. Now, in terms of how they do this, obviously no idea. I wonder if it is going to be Metal Cooler Army, which is what I'm leaning towards more, just because all of the silhouettes here are the same, like clones, if you will. Even Metal Cooler has the glowing red eyes. But if they are going to do a Metal Cooler Army, is it just going to be a Metal Cooler Army, or is it going to be Metal Cooler and Metal Cooler Army, if that makes sense? And even if they are going to do that, how are they going to do it specifically? Are they going to have like the big giant transformation? Are they going to have it as an active skill? You know, and essentially he becomes Optimus Prime with the big Yeti star. You know, are they going to have potentially, which I think is quite a fun idea, don't know how likely it would be though, a reversible exchange where essentially you just switch between cooler clones, which I think would be pretty cool, with one doing one thing, one doing another. Say one has dodge, one has guard damage reduction, one supports, one does loads of damage, those kind of things. I think that would be kind of a cool idea. Or are we going to have like a standalone Metal Cooler that has the Metal Cooler Army involved in maybe a super attack? Who knows? You know, they could even drop a side banner unit, which is a Metal Cooler Army, and the Dokkanfest is just Metal Cooler himself. And then they can kind of like work off of each other. I think there are multiple different avenues that Dokkan could take when it comes to a Metal Cooler Army unit. And I think they could have some fun with it. But I am leaning towards Metal Cooler Army or Metal Cooler being the next Dokkanfest a lot more than my second theory, just because it literally looks like clones. They all look the same. They're all standing in that pose, which funny enough, Metal Cooler Army does stand in, which is this one here, aside from the other poses, but it's the same shape, almost like bowling pins, if you will. And it's not unlike Dokkan to typically drop another unit, Yellow Coin LR or Dokkanfest, a month or two after we have a Dokkanfest Yellow Coin LR that is buffing a specific category. Like right now, we have Golden Freezer and Gogeta, which lead movie bosses, movie heroes. We got Carnival LR Wrathful Broly, buffs movie bosses. We got Super Easy A LR Broly. We also then got the DBS Base Broly Easy A, AGL Golden Freezer Easy A. It wouldn't be out of the norm for Dokkan to drop another movie boss category unit. Obviously, he may not lead movie bosses. However, to continue buffing that category, it's not out of the norm for Dokkan to do that. And movie boss is in a pretty good place right now. So another unit buffing that, like Metal Cooler or Metal Cooler Army, especially depending on what this unit ends up doing, I think will be pretty dope. So I'm completely here for it. Although it isn't my favored choice, if you will. My favorite choice, which I've been screaming for in Dokkan for years, is some sort of Dokkanfest LR, normal standard TUR Dokkanfest, or even a Carnival LR for Super Baby 2, specifically a transforming baby. Now, in terms of going back to the teaser, going back to the hint, you know, you have multiple evil looking ghoulish silhouettes with glowing red eyes. One thing that Baby does have is glowing red eyes. I mean, ignore this part. When he possesses Vegeta, glowing red eyes. When he then possesses Gohan and Goten, however, he doesn't. It's mainly only when he possesses Vegeta and fully takes over and, you know, starts getting the white hair and everything. That is why I'm kind of leaning more towards Metal Cooler Army being the actual choice rather than Baby. However, the same premise still applies. You know, we have loads of evil looking ghoulish silhouettes. What does Baby do? Possess multiple characters. Vegeta, that's where he gets the glowing red eyes. Then you have Bulma, which I still think is probably one of the peakest things any villain has done. Not only has he possessed you like a character literally based on pride, Saiyan pride, but then he possesses your woman as well. Like, do you know how crazy that is? How disrespectful that is? Like, that is wild behavior. And then, of course, possesses Goten, Gohan, Trunks. So I would definitely prefer this to be the Dokkanfest instead, because I've been wanting for so many years a transforming baby unit. Whether that is base baby to Super Baby 2, whether that is Super Baby to Super Baby 2, then Great Ape. Whatever it is, a transforming baby unit needs to be in Dokkan. So if now is the time they're choosing to do it, by all means, because I've been waiting for years, and I know a lot of you guys have as well. The community's been wanting this for years, so I would love it to be a transforming Super Baby 2 unit, especially as well because it can go on the Omega Shenron lead. It could be a great addition to that team, can work really well in that team, and we can see some good EZAs further buffing the likes of Inhuman Deeds, GT bosses, etc, etc, and maybe even we could start getting a revamp for the dead category of Corroded Body and Mind. However, while I would love that to be the case, and those are definitely the two most popular options, and to me, and I think a lot of other people in the community, the most likely options, I do believe just going in depth and in detail with this teaser of these ghoulish silhouettes, to me, because they all look the exact same, and specifically the red eyes look quite prominent, I'm going with the Metacooler army, rather than say Baby and then him possessing Vegeta, Trunks, Bulma, Goten, etc, etc. However, I would 100% prefer it to be Baby over Metacooler army or Metacooler. However, getting a brand new Metacooler isn't a bad thing, especially because, as I said, movie bosses is being buffed quite a lot. So he would go on a very good category and hopefully be a great option. Although I would prefer the Baby unit, the GT bosses buff, the Inhuman Deeds buff, and for Omega Shenron's team to get even better. I mean, to be fair, this GIF here that's been put in, you do get the flash of the red eyes here, and then they disappear, whereas Metacooler armies, they stay. So, you know, I guess I wasn't overly wrong with the red. I learned my colors, I swear. The red eyes, they do kind of look very similar to what they are in the hint, the teaser. So, I mean, I guess it could still definitely be an option. A huge shout here, which I didn't even think of, which he says it could be, or they say it could be Baby or Metacooler, but I'm adding a possible new Garlic Jr. maybe for this, which I didn't even think about this. And Garlic Jr. is a character in the game that probably has the least amount of representation, and he is a literal, depending on if you take it from the arc or the movie, a movie boss unit. So if they specifically take the movie version of Garlic Jr., we could actually have another buff to movie bosses that isn't Metacooler, which I would be completely here for as well, especially because he only has one unit in the game, the Summonable, and that came out years ago, and that wasn't even a Dokkanfest. So Garlic Jr. does need a little bit of love. So this suggestion by Nyanya, I probably said that wrong, but I think I've done a pretty good job. I think is a great shout. A great shout. But as I said, I do think the general consensus is Metacooler army, Baby. I mean, to be fair, the red eyes are actually there. But I mean, they do appear and then they go back to normal. But actually, maybe Baby really isn't out the realms of possibility as I thought. Maybe it's kind of like a 50-50 draw. Is it Metacooler? Is it going to be Baby? It could be one or the other. Now that I'm seeing more of the red eyes, like I don't remember the red eyes being that prominent, because obviously the flash comes and then they go. But I definitely want to see Baby be the Dokkanfest. I've been wanting one of these for years. But either way, both units will buff two very good categories. They're in pretty good spots right now in the game. Now I'm going to change my theory and say I'm still leaning towards a Metacooler or Metacooler army, just because we've recently been buffing movie bosses. And again, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Dokkan to drop another unit that continues buffing that category. Although, I definitely want to see Super Baby 2. A transforming baby unit finally needs to be in Dokkan. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think it's going to be a Metacooler / Metacooler army? Do you think it is going to be a Baby unit? Maybe even Garlic Jr., which I think is a great underrated, under the radar shout? Or do you think it's going to be something completely different? Let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.